YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul has given his older brother Logan his blessing to take on Andrew Tate in a match, but right now he isn't sure that the bout will even happen. Andrew's been receiving a lot of attention this year due to his divisive opinions on women and society. Now, since Paul's ready to fight him, fans are expecting a reply from the former kickboxer. Let's look at what we know. First off, Jake Paul says he's okay with his brother fighting Tate. Fans who've been following updates on these individuals may know that Jake has been having some difficulty securing an opponent for his next match. Just recently, one dropped out of his scheduled August 6th fight, costing him millions. This was Hasim Rahman Jr., who didn't comply with the weigh-in monitoring prior to the fight. Be that as it may, he still might have an opponent in the near future, but not for himself. He recently gave Logan his blessing to fight Tate instead. Along with this, he also promised the former kickboxing champ that if his brother didn't beat him up, he'd do it himself. It has to go down one way or the other. In addition to this, he also revealed that Tate had messaged him on Instagram, but apparently unsent the message before he could read it. This definitely means that there's some tension between them, but he also thinks the fight's unlikely. Keeping in mind this recent agreement between the Paul brothers, it's also important to note that the fight may not actually happen. We're still unsure of whether Tate will actually be up to the challenge or not. According to Jake, he might think the bout is too big of a risk to lose to the two brothers potentially. In an interview, he explained why he believes this could be possible. He said he doesn't think Andrew will agree to get into the ring with one of them. It's too big of a risk for him. He's an alpha male, and that's the way he goes on about with others too. When he loses, he'll lose to either one of the two brothers. Even Logan himself revealed that his own team's hesitant to move forward with the fight against Tate due to fears surrounding his relevance in the future. He said when he brought up the idea to his advisors, they were immediately concerned that he wouldn't be as popular as he is right now, or as relevant in December or January. So, according to them, it's unclear right now if either of the Paul brothers will face off with Tate in the future. But one thing's for certain, they're definitely down for it. So it's still a strong possibility. Also, Jake had targeted a fight with Tate himself earlier. YouTube Drama Alert show host Keemstar reported earlier that Jake himself eyed a mega money fight with Tate. This was last month when his brother hadn't intervened. And what's so interesting about this is that it could have been worth a very profitable deal for both of them. While Logan wasn't involved in the situation at this point, it was confirmed that the pair would appear on his podcast very soon. Here, he would deliver a special message to Tate ahead of a potential meeting. Ultimately, this didn't really end up happening, but the recent news of Jake giving his blessing can be thought of as basically the same thing. Even his friend Julian Love, who has worked with the YouTube star during his short boxing career, believed that a fight would deliver significant wealth for both of them, with huge viewership figures anticipated. On the other hand, people also expected Andrew to respond to them, but he didn't. And as it turns out, he still hasn't. But he did seem to be very confident about winning any fight based on his past claims. He even made it clear that he doesn't like the Paul brothers by mentioning them publicly once. So it seems like he's totally down to fight and beat them. We just don't know when. Plus, why are the Paul brothers so interested in fighting him? Those who have been following him online will know that he's one of the people everyone seems to be talking about nowadays. Over the past few months, he's been making one attention-seeking comment after another. Just this year, he has called out a number of popular and influential people across the world. He said he's way more famous than US President Joe Biden and even Donald Trump. Recently, he's also said he's willing to offer the actor Will Smith a road to redemption by taking him to Qatar and converting him to Islam. The kickboxer even came forward with the idea that women should get the numbers of their body counts on their forehead. He said that doing this would solve 99% of the world's problems. This comment came off as extremely misogynistic to people. He has previously even made more claims regarding sensitive issues such as harassment, mental health, and sexual assault. Still, he was charged with assault 11 times by the British police in 2017, after which he eventually moved to Romania. So we think maybe the Paul brothers are interested in fighting him so they can prove their worth by beating him. Or perhaps they want more fame and viewership figures. It's all part of an extremely unhealthy and toxic competition among these influencers. And now for some other related news. First off, TikTok being requested to ban Andrew for his misogynistic content. Recently, it was reported that TikTok has been facing calls to remove videos of Tate from their platform. This is because he's been accused of spreading misogynistic content to audiences as young as 13 on the platform. It seems like his target audience is young boys boys, and he's deliberately shaping their mindset. And this certainly comes as no surprise to anyone because he's been drenched in controversy. Despite a successful kickboxing career that earned him 2 international titles, his spectacular rise to fame has been linked to the rise in the number of British teenagers being influenced by his videos. It's actually quite disturbing to see impressionable boys as young as 13 years of age being exposed to his rants and ravings. This is the same man who once told victims of assault to bear responsibility and has openly described violence against women. So, leading domestic abuse charities have said that such content is extremely misogynistic and has the potential to radicalize young men to bring harm to the real world. In fact, Andrew Bridgen, a member of Parliament for Northwest Leicestershire, told Mail Online that TikTok should take responsibility for keeping his videos on its platform. He also appointed a duty of care to take harmful content down as soon as possible. Next, Logan Paul reveals details about Jake's cancelled fight with Tommy Fury. The Paul brothers have once again called out Tommy Fury for backing out of the 2 previous fights he had with Jake. But this time, it was Logan who publicly mocked the English boxer and criticized his lack of will. Their 2 fights previously arranged have been cancelled by Fury. First, due to a broken rib he suffered in training camp, and most recently because of a visa issue. During the latest episode of their Impulsive podcast, he told Jake that he had warned him before taking the first fight with Tommy. He also said that he recognized Fury had flake behavior, and how the second time his brother wanted to fight him, he very much liked it. But this guy just doesn't seem to have it in him. Jake responded to this by saying that he thinks that the boxer can't stand the pressure once the fight is nearing and is actually gone time. This is because at that point, he realizes he has to face him. Logan thinks Fury's tainting his own family name, regardless of whether these are excuses or not. But still, he also thinks he made the right decision for not facing Jake because it could be worse than being told you're afraid of him. Meanwhile, things seem to be the opposite with the fighter himself. Speaking to VIP Boxing Promotions, he insisted that he wants the fight with Paul to happen as long as it's not in the United States. So let's wait and see what happens. Finally, Mike Tyson was urged not to go ahead with Jake for a fight. Mike Tyson's boxing return at 56 years old came as a surprise to many people, and recently it has many fans quite worried. Well, he's definitely one of the all-time greats of the sport. There's no escaping the fact that he's nearing his 60th birthday, and so he has been encouraged not to engage in a possible fight with Jake Paul. The thing about Paul is that he's a total amateur who has never even come close to fighting a trained boxer, but he possesses the advantage of youth, which could maybe bury Tyson down, and fans aren't looking forward to seeing that happen. Even though the match wouldn't be expected to go in his favor, there's always the fear that a power punch to someone around 60 could do an awful lot of unnecessary damage. Shelly Finkel, who previously worked with Tyson as his manager until 2005, has strongly urged his former client to avoid participating in such a fight. Everyone's just trying to look out for him, but ultimately, we'll find out what happens between them. And that's a wrap for this video. What do you think of Jake Paul giving Logan his blessing to fight Andrew Tate? Are you looking forward to seeing them compete with each other? Let us know in the comments below. Do give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell notification for similar videos. See you in the next one.